All right, good morning. We have officially started. Welcome to the Transform. Yeah, clap. That'd be great. You know, the affirmation. Thank you. I'm president of the Westside Future Fund. I'm John Ahmann. It's my co-host.
Hi, good morning. My name is Benjamin Earley. I'm a proud fourth-generation Westside resident and senior consultant with Redclay-Hill Communications.
And for those that I always like to start right away, like who's here for their first time? Do we have any for? Wow. All right, welcome.
For the newbies.
All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of an overview for our first time, but one for our first time visitors. We're live right now, so the cameras around the room. We're broadcasting live up on our social media outlets, and that'll be available immediately after the show. Our program for this morning, we start with, in just a minute, we're going to start with the devotion. It'll be KaCey Venning, who's the co-founder of HEY, which is for helping empower youth. And once we do the devotion, we're going to do self-introductions, and we'll talk more about that when we get to that part. And then we're going to have a great panel discussion led by our co-host Ebony with Marie and Tangee and KaCey, and also Dr. Whylly from the U.S. Attorney's Office, right? Great. So then we always will wind up at about 9 o'clock.
Happy Women's History Month. We'll get a round of applause for that. And, you know, quick shout out to some amazing women in my life, my mom and grandma, and, you know, my sister, who all have had tremendous impact in, you know, creating the human being that you all see before you today. I can guarantee you that had it not been for that divine feminine energy in my life, I would be a totally different person. So I love y'all, I appreciate y'all. And I'm excited for our guest this morning. I had the opportunity to sit with a few young Westside residents. And when I say young, I mean teenagers, aged 15 through 19 at Raising Expectations this past week. And we had a very candid, open, and raw conversation about the various challenges and circumstances that many of the young people in our community face. And one of the topics that was really at the forefront of the conversation was violence, and gun violence, to be specific. So I'm really excited to hear from these wonderful, powerful women who we're going to have on our panel this morning to talk about their various organizations that they represent and how they actually step in to help prevent and deter, you know, students and young people from engaging in violence by giving them different opportunities, showing them the potential that they actually have to go somewhere with their life, and helping to steer them, you know, in the right direction. And they don't just do it while they're young. They follow them from the time that they're in school all the way up through the time that they're actually adults and gainfully employed. So I'm really excited to hear about those programs. So we appreciate you. Quick note, we got QR codes in the back of the room. We're trying to be a little bit more, you know, environment friendly here, so we don't print out the bulletins for everybody like we used to. But if you would like a copy of the bulletin, you can just pull out your camera, scan the QR code in the back, and you'll have all the bios of our featured guests this morning, as well as different information relevant to the work of the West Side. And also, to John's earlier point, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, live streaming right now. The summits are always available after, immediately, and you can go back and replay them. Shout out to everybody who is watching online. We appreciate you all tuning in. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, help us to share this wonderful information that we share here at the summits online and get it out to more people that it can, you know, potentially benefit. Yeah.
All right, yeah, thank you. We're now going to move to the next part of our program, which is our devotion. And for those that are here for the first time, we always start off with the devotion, and we ask our speaker not necessarily to lead an instruction from it, but just to draw inspiration from the story of Nehemiah in the Old Testament. So that's the story of the cupbearer to the king going to Nehemiah, to Jerusalem, you know, starting with building a wall to help make the community, you know, safe. And what I love about the lesson from the story is really about how you govern around common values and take care of each other. And one of the things that I appreciate are folks from the community that give the devotion. So if you're interested in doing the devotion, you know, let us know. And we always start the devotion with the same grounding statement that we read every summit. So I'm going to read it out loud. You can see it up on the screen. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community, recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside Revitalization effort. The time at the beginning of our meetings, an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. So thank you, KaCey, for doing this morning. And she is a youth and education advocate with an emphasis on mental health and speaking, living in the neighborhood now, come to appreciate the amount of unfortunately, gun violence and others, what kind of impact that has on mental health. And in 2009, she founded HEY, which stands for Helping Empower Youth, a nonprofit advocating for underserved youth in Atlanta. She has served Title I schools, and for those who don't know what Title I is, that's poverty schools across APS, providing curriculum and family support. And she is a product of Morris Brown College. All right. And the Intertheological Center with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology, and is currently in her last semester toward her Master of Divinity degree on Public Spaces. So thank you. Come on up.
Good morning. Oh, that mic works good. I just want to start with a quick word of prayer. Eternal God, we know you by many names, and we thank you for this time in this space. Holy Spirit, open our minds to knowledge and understanding. Seek our hearts and replace all that is contrary to you with your love, your peace, and your favor. Cover our youth, cover our community, and cover these your people. Amen and ashe. I want us to focus on the third chapter of Nehemiah. And if you've ever read the third chapter of Nehemiah, it reads a little like Genesis with the litany of names and the genealogy. So it can be a bit much. But here in this particular chapter, it identifies individuals and groups of people tasked with building the gates and the wall. And one particular scripture I do want to highlight, though, is Nehemiah 3:2. And it says that the people of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zachar, son of Emery, built next to them. For me, what has been made clear here is that each of them had a role and a position that was necessary to the building of that wall. Like those who built the gates and laid the beams, we all have a role to play and a part as well in what we are building to educate, support, and protect our youth and our legacy residents. Nehemiah describes the rebuilding of the wall for a city to aid in the rebuilding of the spiritual lives of Jews who had returned from captivity. And there is much we can learn from this as well. It's time for us to also build a wall around our youth. Not to keep them out or to exile them from the good that is already here and continuing to come, but to protect them, to incubate them, to ensure there is love, support, and guidance at every turn that they make, to build their spiritual lives as well, and to plant seeds in them that will grow so they can in turn plant seeds for the next generation. It's my hope that the love and support that they experience becomes too much for even them to contain. And eventually the wall built to protect them, they will begin to feel as though it's constricting, right? That they too need to bust at the seams as they aim to share what they have been given with others. A lot of times we think about walls and we think about keeping folks out. We think about walls as division and as a dividing point. We see walls sometimes as those brick edifices that it's really hard to push through and to penetrate. Or sometimes it's the invisible wall that we see along lines of zones and neighborhoods and districts. But walls can also be a good thing when we take the value out of the word, when we extract what we have known and what we have really perceived what a wall means. And when we shift the idea and shift the thinking of a wall also being there to protect the young until they are ready, almost like a bird does with their new babies, right? They go and they seek out what is needed for them for their nourishment. And then when they're ready, they push them out of the nest. And so for us, let's not think of the wall as something that keeps them confined and in the limitations of a box in terms of how we want them to perform and to show up and to respond. But that wall is that incubation that they need in this moment to get the tools necessary, to get the resources, the support, the love, the correction, and the guidance so that when they are ready to bust at the seams and pull that wall brick by brick, they're now doing the same for the generation to come behind them. Thank you.
All right, let's thank her one more time. So thank you. When you said in your message, there's an invisible wall. One of the things that really struck me about that metaphor was, I grew up and lived on the east side of Atlanta, now living on the west side, and I can jog from my house in Vine City over to Midtown. And that invisible wall called Northside Drive, and how dramatically different neighborhoods become. And back to some of the things I know we're going to hear y'all are working so hard about, so that that wall of a loss of hope, that wall of systemic poverty, all these things we're trying to address. But the good news is our city has the resource to do something about it. So thank you for that message this morning. And as we go to the next, and speaking of, the metaphor is one way we can burst through these invisible walls separating our community is by getting to know each other, and people from different parts of our city getting to know each other. So that's one of the things we love about the Transform Westside Summits. We found to be some of the most valuable parts of our program are people networking, joining together in common values to make great things happen. And so we always take the time out to do these self-introductions. So for our first timers, what we're gonna, the way this works is I'm gonna have a mic, and I'm gonna, I'm holding the hand like this, like there's a mic's gonna magically manifest. So someone's gonna bring me up a microphone, I think. And can you see where the mic is? Oh, there it is. I knew I was gonna have a mic. And so what we wanna do on the self-introductions is we're gonna ask you to stand up, and if you don't mind standing up, and then say your name, and then your affiliation, like I work here or live here, and then a full stop, really. So we can go. We want to move around the whole room, and get through everything. So if you pass the mic, we're just going to go row by row, and I'll be around to help move it around. But we want to get through everyone and then get right to our program. So are you ready?
Oh, you started with me.
We're starting with you. Did you want to start with somebody else? I don't. Yeah.
Well, I'm here. Okay.
And hold the mic close to you when you speak.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Jerry McGoy. I'm with Quest Community. All right. Yeah. Part of the West Side development here. I'm the director of real estate development. Not only do I work here on the West Side, but I also live here on the West Side. When I came back to Atlanta from Virginia, I told myself I'm gonna make sure I live on the west side of Atlanta when I come back instead of the suburbs. So I'm happy to be here, be part of the redevelopment of the west side, and just happy to be here. And I really want to thank West Side Future Fund because they're such a great supporter of Quest. So I want to give that quick shout out because, you know, we still need to meet and talk about some other real estate deals.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. All right.
Good morning. Another Jerry. So you got a twofer today. And happy St. Patrick's Day. I see the green there. Congratulations. But Jerry Kiernan, AP Campus Insights. So we do videos for academics at universities. Thank you.
Go right there.
Yeah, sure. Here.
Good morning. I'm Elder Takuma Brown. I'm on the board of directors for the Healing Community Center.
Good morning, everybody. E.J. Robinson, Chick-fil-A Corporate Social Responsibility.
Good morning, everybody. Ayodele Harrison, Senior Partner with Community Bill Ventures. We've supported.
We'll bring up in a second, but we'll trust you to speak loud, yeah.
Barry Thomas, retired educator, transitioned from Seattle to Atlanta.
Good morning, Tamara Warren, board member with Raising Expectations.
Good morning, Malcolm Benson, board member, Raising Expectations.
Good morning, I'm Tapor Dangrambizi. I'm with Energy Sustainability Solutions.
Good morning, Shayla Barlow Jones. I'm the SEL coach at Hollis Innovation Academy, also the founder of KBG Scholarship Foundation, founded in honor of my 14-year-old son who was killed during gun violence to serve at-risk youth and those that have lost their parents.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Mays. I'm the manager at Choice Neighborhoods with Atlanta Housing.
My name is Amber Keller with Atlanta Habitat for Humanity.
Good morning. I'm Mary Elizabeth Robertson, Director of Public Affairs at AT&T.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natani Edie. I'm with the Arthur Blank Foundation. I'm a proud Spelman alumna and a former Raising Expectations volunteer.
Good morning. I'm Toya Russell Phillips. I'm the founder and CEO of Girls of Excellence Incorporated, group mentoring for girls in Atlanta Public Schools.
Good morning. I'm Malia Cooper, and I'm on the Chick-fil-A Corporate Social Responsibility team.
Morning. My name is Richard Taylor. I'm with Art Capital Partners. I'm a property owner on the West Side and an officer of MPUK.
Good morning. I'm Terry Nichelle Bradley. I'm the founder and CEO of Brown Toy Box. We're trying to disrupt poverty through play.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Bush, and I'm a legacy resident of the Booker T. Washington neighborhood. Booker T. and I have something in common. We're both graduates of Hampton University.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Edward Valentin. I am the Director of Clinical Services over at Families First, and I'm also a social neuroscientist over at Emory School of Medicine.
Good morning, I'm Kanesha Moore, CEO of Usher's New Look, and we develop passion-driven leaders.
Good morning, I'm Dan Preister with Cox Curry and Associates.
Good morning, my name is Joshonda Gurrier. I'm here representing Fulton County Juvenile Court.
So I'm Sean Waltwood. I am with the Home Depot Backyard at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the very next Westside residence. I close today.
Bob Butler, Coa Banker Real Estate.
Good morning, Akeen Irish, just here of my own accord.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sundiata Rush. I'm with the City of Atlanta Department of City Planning.
Good morning, I'm Maria Saporta. I'm a journalist in town, Saporta Report, and I'm stirring up some trouble with a new nonprofit called Atlanta Way 2.0.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Miranda. I'm the new Executive Director of Soccer in the Streets.
Good morning. My name is Bernard Cook, and I'm with the Boy Scouts of America.
Ready?
Hello, everyone. I am Zacharias Bennett, and I am a sophomore at Georgia State University, majoring in real estate.
Go that way. Great.
Good morning, Ross Cathy with DTC Enterprises.
Hi, my name is Omar Howard. I'm a credible messenger and founder of Freedom is a Choice Mentoring Group.
Hello, my name is Ebony Jones. I'm a resident of Vine City, and I have 2 kids at Hollis Academy.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Olawoyo. I'm the head of school at Centennial Academy.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Dukes. I'm the co-founder of Atlanta Thrive, and I'm an Westside resident, and I have 10 kids that attend Atlanta Public Schools.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nisha Dobbs. I'm a resident of the Westside. Just got a notice to move from my Westside residence, so I'm here trying to figure out what's going on.
Good morning, I'm Katie Cardwell. I'm getting a Master of Social Work at Georgia State, and I'm currently interning with Dr. Whylly, who's on the panel this morning. I'm graduating in May. If anybody's hiring, I'll be looking for a job soon.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Craig Lucy with Lucy Content. We have a video production studio opening up on Chattahoochee Avenue on Monday, so come see us. And my colleague here, DePriest, is about to tell you about an awesome thing we got coming up on April 1.
John, I'll be short. Good morning, everybody. I'm DePriest Waddy. I'm the president for the Community Foundation of Northeast Georgia, and also one of the chairs for the World Peace Revival, worldpeacerevival.org. And I want to invite everybody to come to this groundbreaking international first-time history-making event on April 1st, where we will be conducting a walk, thanks to Home Depot Backyard as our starting point, and the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation, along with Chick-fil-A and Coca-Cola. And we're going to start at around 9:30 from Home Depot Backyard. We're going to walk over to Rodney Cook Senior Peace Park and place Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s statue and in the Peace Park along with those others. So we hope you come out, and just want to thank you for your support. And there's a video, as Craig said, towards the end of this program, and it'll tell you all about it.
Awesome. Oops.
Good morning. I'm Daryl LaSure with Chick-fil-A, and I'll let him introduce himself, but I have my older brother from Los Angeles here today.
Good morning. I'm Jacques LaSure, a former Atlanta resident, but now I'm in the city of champions, Inglewood, California. I'm also a jazz musician, and also a professor at UCLA.
And I see fashion does not run in the family.
Good morning, I'm Stacy Wienick with Open Hand Atlanta. I'm the Senior Manager of Corporate and Faith Partnerships. And while not an Atlanta resident, I'm an East Point resident for 25 plus years now.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jean Dole. I'm here with my husband, and I'm here to listen and learn.
Hi, I'm here with my wife, Jean Dole. My name is Tracy Techow. I'm Scout Executive CEO of the Atlanta Area Council with my fellow executive, Bernard, board member, Daryl, and last year's Civil Rights Heritage Hike honorary chair, John Ahmann. And if you want to join us, March 25th, we have another Civil Rights Heritage Hike. We'll have 600 scouts coming from Martin Luther King site all the way to the Civil Rights and Heritage Rights. Civil Rights and Human Rights Museum Center. Thank you, John, for serving scouting as strongly as you do.
Good morning. I am Ijima Arino. I'm the district executive of Southwest Atlanta with the Boy Scouts, and I am also a Westside resident.
Good morning. Leonard Adams, President and CEO of Quest Community Development Corporation. I'm a Westside resident, and I'm also the 31st president of an HBCU in Knoxville, Tennessee, called Knoxville College.
Good morning. My name is Mark K.D. Boyd. I'm the co-founder and director of programming at Help and Empower Youth. I'm also a Westside resident, and we do STEM programming here right over in the Katherine Johnson Memorial House on the West Side.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Justine Veal. I'm a resident of Grove Park from New Jersey, just here to listen and find ways to get involved.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Camille May. I'm a proud Spelman alumna and resident of Grove Park.
Good morning. My name is Bob Dickinson. Dickinson Partners Group, also executive director of STEAM Sports Foundation and producer of the event that you see back there on the easel called Imagining the Indians. That event, April 13th at the King Center. Addresses racism within the Native American community. Please shoot the QR code. It is free. So take a look at that before you get out of here. Oh, and our MC that night is going to be none other than our own Benjamin Earley. So come see how Benjamin runs the event.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. LaTarsha Holden, founder and CEO of Four Seasons Single Parent Program. I'm in the beginning stages of opening up a shelter for homeless women with children.
Good morning. I'm Kathleen Bryant with Partners in Change, and we are taking a new approach to enabling individuals to empower themselves by providing free life coaching for 1 year.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Danita Knight. I'm on day 40-something in my new role as president and CEO of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta. Great to be here.
Good morning. My name is Myrna Clayton, Westside resident, U.S. Cultural Ambassador, commissioned by the U.S. State Department to represent American music abroad at U.S. embassies around the world. I'm also founder and executive director for Showability, working with performing artists on the disability spectrum.
Great morning and happy Friday, everyone. My name is Dominique Bartley. I'm with Learning and Development at the Home Depot, and I'm just here on my own accord.
Paul Duke, technical recruiter for Stand Data IT recruiting agency.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Clay, originally born on the West Side and live on the West Side, and the new Commissioner for Constituent Services for our 61st Mayor, Andre Dickens.
Hi, I'm Steve Parker. I'm the National Director for Keller Williams Happy House Fundraising Campaign. We want to love on, encourage, and promote amazing nonprofits in our communities today by monetizing real estate transactions for the nonprofit community.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Waddy, Director of Corporate Social Responsibility with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning. I am Aretta Balden. I am a Spelman alum, a West Side resident, a small business owner, as well as your Atlanta Board of Education representative for District 2.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Leroy Wright. I'm the senior pastor of First Thessalonian Missionary Baptist Church, and I'm a Morehouse alum.
Hi, I'm Neil Shorthouse with Partners in Change, enabling social, personal, and economic upward mobility for adults.
All right, I know we're about to get to, and I'm going to make up some time so we can get to the panel. So they're all about to be up in the panel. So if you haven't had a chance to self-introduce, raise your hand. We're going to make sure all right.
I know who to hand the mic to.
Cecily and Suli Welch. We are recent new owners of the Welch Center on the West Side. We're residents and property owners. I own a CPA firm, and he owns a martial arts studio. We do exactly opposite things and think the other person is crazy, which is why it works.
And I'll add to that, I'm also a Morehouse alum. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Austin Astwood. I'm here with Chick-fil-A on their corporate social responsibility team, and I'm also a Morehouse College alumnus.
All right. So hold your hand up if you didn't have a chance to introduce. Do you want to introduce? You good? All right.
Good morning, I'm Stephanie Adams. I'm the Managing Director at the Center for Global Health Innovation, and we work with underserved communities across Atlanta, including on the West Side, deploying community health workers to help improve health equity.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Bates. I'm president of Historic Westside Cultural Arts Council, president of English Avenue Neighborhood Association, and on the board of the Historic Westside Gardens.
Thank you. You want me to hold something?
Good morning, everyone. I am Thelma Renault. I've been living in now English Avenue just for over 50 years. I was born and raised here. And then I am a member of the English Avenue Neighborhood Association. And I've been treasurer, so now, and I'm just glad to finally be here, John. Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Hi, Bill Bowling from Foodwell Alliance.
Do you want to introduce?
My name is Corwin Munson. I'm with Collarwood Productions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith, and I'm from English Avenue, resident of English Avenue. Good morning.
All right, I know. Oh, Tillman, thank you.
Good morning, family. I'm Tillman Ward, Community Resources of Atlanta, based in historic Vine City. Graduate of Booker T. Washington High School, Morris Brown College, and Berean Academy.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kimberly Walker Browner, Chief Strategy and Programs Officer at Communities and Schools of Atlanta, and we are currently serving Booker T. Washington, H.J. Russell, Hollis Innovation, and M. Agnes Jones Elementary.
All right, so this is my last swing so we can start our program, and I know a couple here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kiara Stroud. I'm the fellowship manager with Atlanta Thrive, a parent-led advocacy group, and we work with families and students on the West Side to help disrupt the inequities in education.
All right, so I know I've got one that I'm definitely not going to miss. All right, one here.
Good morning, Anthony Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of Equity in Education. We're a 501c4 nonprofit here supporting school board races.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Beverly Danielle Tatum, Chair of the Board of the Westside Future Fund. Happy to be here.
All right. Yeah, so thank you. So hopefully we went around, folks, for listening, because if you are thinking of someone that you could help, hopefully you introduce yourself to that person, and vice versa. So we really encourage the networking, and I'm going to turn it over to co-host Benjamin to get to our program.
All right, we're going to keep it rolling, folks. We got an amazing panel. They got a lot of very important topics to cover. Quick note, we hope everybody got your gift card tickets. We're going to have a raffle at the end. We have 2 amazing gift cards, courtesy of the Home Depot Foundation, as well as Goodwill of North Georgia. A red and a blue ticket. We'll call the raffle at the end, so make sure you got them on hand. And now to introduce our phenomenal panelists, we have the co-founders of Raising Expectations, Ms. Tangee Allen and Maria Armstrong. We have Danielle Whylly, Dr. Danielle Whylly, Community Outreach Specialist, U.S. Attorney's Office of Northern District of Georgia. We've got Ms. KaCey Venning, co-founder of Helping Empower Youth. And of course, our lovely moderator for today and co-host, Ms. Ebony Ford. She's the Director of Community Building and Engagement. I'm just hot down because I'm in the way. Okay. At Quest CDC. Round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Ebony, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you for that awesome introduction. And he got them young knees to hop down there because I could not do that. Thank you all so much for being here.
So my name is Ebony Ford again, as Ben said, and we have a lot to unpack today. I will do my best to continue to honor everyone's time today because we appreciate y'all being here. We appreciate you watching as well, but we do have a lot to unpack. And so we will jump right into it. You have met these ladies, and now it is time to be introduced to their respective organizations. First of all, we have Raising Expectations. While founded in 1995, Raising Expectations has supported the West Side specifically since 2004. For over 2 decades, the organization has worked to empower youth in crises by elevating academic, social, and civic expectations to facilitate high school graduation and post-secondary plans. Awesome work, thank you. Second, we have Helping Empower Youth, which is HAY, right? Acronym, I like that, HAY. HAY has worked for over a decade to work with youth who are truant, likely to drop out, and justice impacted. Education is a priority, but meeting the basic needs of Black male youth primarily to increase the likelihood of returning to school and lessening their negative interaction with law enforcement is the primary goal. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, we have the U.S. Attorney's Office slide. So what I'm going to read here is a little bit different than what's there because it actually has some partners and some additional information. The USAO works to provide redirection and guidance to youth through structured mentoring and providing resources to adults serving youth to minimize the effects of the justice system. The Credible Messenger program is a restorative justice model that relies on unique relationships that credible messengers form with justice-involved youth to modify individual behavior and strengthen disadvantaged communities. That is some awesome work. Thank you, ladies, again. I appreciate you all. And so, Danielle, we're going to start with you today. You ready? Okay. Please set the tone for us. I think you got some data you want to share with us?
Yes, so good morning, everyone. Just first on behalf of the U.S. Attorney, Ryan Buchanan, we want to thank Westside Future Fund for allowing us to have this conversation. And we also want to thank Raising Expectations for inviting us to be a part of the discussion today. Just to disarm everyone, we know that what we're seeing and what we're feeling is not unique to the west side of Atlanta, right? It's not unique to Fulton County or even the state of Georgia. But nationally, gun violence is said to be the leading cause of death for children under the age of 18, nationally. In Georgia, it's said to be the second cause of death. On average, it's estimated that gun violence takes another life every 5 hours. In Georgia. That's a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
But I want us to just keep in mind, we're talking about homicides, right? People that are killed from gun violence. But what about the number of young people, many of which we work with, that survive gun violence or that witness gun violence? How do they show up? Because that's who we're working with and serving every single day. And it's an insurmountable amount of trauma that we see every day. This report, which you can find on the Giffords Law Center website under intervention, says that 40% of children who are exposed to gun violence develop PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. 40%. Probably higher, right? And if you're not familiar with the ACEs studies that talk about adverse childhood experiences, I would encourage you to look that up as well. The next piece of information I'll share with you is from a Wall Street Journal article that was just published in January. And that highlighted what the basis of what we're discussing today. Until 2020, the juvenile crime rate had been declining, right? But upon the pandemic, homicides committed by a single juvenile alone increased by 30%. Multiple juveniles committing a homicide increased by 66%. Yes, that part.
Yeah, that's extremely sombering, but thank you.
And pay attention to the last one. Homicides committed by children under the age of 14 was at its highest in 2 decades, under the age of 14. So check these articles and reports out for yourself.
Wow, so somber. But thank you for compiling that and bringing that to us. And if that doesn't give you a good snapshot of what's going on, I don't think anything will. Thank you, Danielle, for that. And it's a good segue. You were saying how it's affecting the youth, so I think we're actually going to hear from them now. We have a video that, one of the videos that Ben mentioned earlier with the children that were interviewed. And so it is going to be an audio-only approach. And the reason we chose that approach is we really wanted people to focus on what the children are saying and the gravity in their voice about the situation, and also to protect their anonymity as well. And as Ben mentioned, it is real, it is raw, so there is some language in it, but I don't think it's anything none of us have ever heard. So, but if it is, you can close your ears. But yeah, let's take a look at that first video, please.
All I know is, like, it felt so bad, like, it hurts, like, to this day it hurt, like, walking around the halls and looking on the wall and seeing long live. Like, sometimes it's really hard to say his name because, like, you can't really believe that he gone. Like, every time you walk somewhere, you go see, like, you'll remember a memory or something that you've had with him. Like, you can't really talk about it. Like, I can't really talk about it because, I don't know, I can't really, like, explain it. Like, honestly, I really do miss my friend, though.
I feel like it affected me because it just showed me how to move around with all the teens that start getting killed like that. Like, not to trust nobody or not to move with too many people. Just be smart and just think before you do something with a lot of people.
I feel like it affect every person that lost somebody to the violence. I feel like it make us want to do the same thing, like go get some get back.
At that point, 2023, you have no choice but to be alone. Can't try to make friends, because making friends, people always mad and like antisocial, so you can't really make friends nowadays.
I ain't gonna lie, it affect me because I'm a young nigga myself, so I don't be around everybody. Anytime I go, so I be by myself, so anytime I see some young nigga, a group of young nigga, get what? I be on feel. Get what? I get the clutching. I don't get no fuck. Get what? I ain't going out like all the other niggas. Feel me? That's it.
So you feel the need to just protect yourself, basically?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is that's makes me extremely emotional. And Tangee had a very good idea. She asked me not to listen to it, to just hear it the first time with you guys, so I could experience what you're experiencing at the same time. So that was very powerful, Ben. Thank you. So now that we've had a chance to hear from the youth, as practitioners, and this question is for each of your organizations have an extensive history working with Westside youth. And how would you characterize, and Danielle, you spoke about this a little earlier, how would you characterize the mental health of youth pre versus post pandemic? And Maria, you can start.
Yes. Before the pandemic, things were still difficult for our young people, right? We know the challenges that they face every day living and existing in marginalized communities. But after the pandemic, everything that was a challenge before just amplified itself overnight. I think it's something about being at home by themselves, being online, and spending so much time in a digital world that really changed their feeling about the future, their hope for the future, and their focus on, how education plays a role in changing the possibilities for each of them would be what I would say would be the demonstrative difference that we've seen. The energy that kids are dealing with today is they're very angry. They have, it's usually from one extreme emotion to the other. And so helping them to understand how to tap into those emotions and regulate that has been a challenge. The audio segment is, the raw truth of what our kids are dealing with. We wanted you all to hear it that way so that you could feel what they're feeling every day.
I just wanted to say, Maria, first of all, it was Maria's idea to do it that way so that people can really kind of rest in the words and rest in the emotions, because it's important. As it relates to the difference, March 13th, Friday the 13th, as it were.
Yeah.
Yes. That's when we learned that Atlanta Public Schools was going to close because of COVID. And literally, the young people that we've been working with, this is our 27th year of service. The young people that we've been working with prior to COVID are demonstratively different than the ones that came out post-COVID. It's a completely different scenario, how they move, how they respond to stimulus, how they respond to aggression, how they respond to conflict, how to communicate with one another, how we communicate with our parents. The entire terrain has changed since then. So I really struggle to articulate and adequately describe what we're seeing.
I would echo, I think, a lot of the sentiments that Tangee and Maria have already shared. I know for us, we take a different approach to how we engage with our young folks. And I know Coach Boyd and I have caught a lot of flack from folks around how we allow our young people to show up in our space. And that includes them coming with their full selves and having to understand the environments they come from, the mindset that they're in. And while we personally would want them to choose something different, it's hard to say go back into this community and not feel as though you have to protect yourself. When I live on Lowry and 3 to 4 nights out of a week, I hear gunshots in my home. And I'm a little more or relatively more safe than they are based on the proximity of where my home sits and not in the cut.
Yes.
And so understanding what my personal experiences as an adult to then say to this child that goes to an apartment community that literally is one way in, one way out. At times, National Guard is at the gate that does not work, to then say to them, oh, you'll be fine, you'll be safe, you don't need this, right? It's this tug and this push and pull of what we should be saying, and then what's the reality for them?
Absolutely.
And that's just been amplified and heightened during this time as well.
Yes, it definitely has. And we do have another audio segment from the children as well. You can cue that up. The questions are, why do you think more youth are engaging with guns and or other forms of violence? And why are they so triggered to respond with aggression first?
A lot of violence going on right now because people want to be gangsters. People want that image, like to just say like they did this to somebody that did that or something like that. So that's why a lot of things going on, so people can get on that image or that prop to be a gangster.
It's mostly dealing like with all the gangs and like probably stuff is social media, because I feel like it's just like social media take a big impact on that, and like the people like they hang around and like their whole environment, that really takes a part on how they act.
Really, like you said, it's just revenge. Like, something happened, somebody else want to go back and do that, take that out on them. So, like you said, it's never going to stop. It's going to keep going. Every time somebody do something, somebody else going to go back and do something.
So nowadays, guns and stuff ain't like, they not that expensive no more. They just like candy at the point, they not that much. So it's easy to go out there and get a gun for family members, for friends, stuff like that. And when you get a gun, it's like, that's the only thing you really use. What's the point of fighting? What's the point of using your fist? You can just end this man right here. Ain't no reason to get hurt. Ain't no way you can get hurt when you got a gun right in your pocket you can use. Yeah.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is not even necessarily responding with guns. It's just they're so accessible. And he had almost made not a good point, but a point. Just, you got a gun. Why wouldn't you just reach for that? That is extremely sad. KaCey and Tangee, this next question is for you two ladies. So we have heard how easy it is for youth to get access to guns. What significant data point do you think policymakers are missing as they contemplate policies to address the issues of youth violence, to include gun youth violence?
Yeah, you know, for us, it's not a point of legality, right, in whether or not guns should be available to folks. I think what policymakers need to remember is that poverty breeds hopelessness.
Yes.
And when you do not factor in the mental and emotional pieces of making policy decisions, even though you're well within your right, to own, to carry, you cannot ignore that there are folks who are separate and apart from the responsibility of what it means to be a responsible person. The last piece I'll say around what policymakers need to remember is that when folks are historically disenfranchised, disempowered, economically depressed for generation after generation after generation, you disconnect from the conversation of civics, of policy, of politics, because you are focused on a roof over my head, eating, getting my kids to school, transportation. Y'all figure that out over there, and I'll do my best to not get arrested, right? But that does not mean that because folks are living in such dire environments and neighborhoods, that they're not going to do what is necessary in order for them to take care of themselves.
That's true.
So we can't just say, here's the law, here's the policy, and then follow it, when we don't understand that there is this cyclical piece that folks want to compartmentalize, and you can't break the circle, right? So we have to address affordable housing. We have to address the fact that our children cannot read. We have to address the fact that for those of us who live in certain parts of the West Side, we are in a food desert.
Sure.
We have to address the fact that for some folks, it is a 2-mile walk to the nearest MARTA station. We got to address the fact that people are working 2 and 3 jobs and still can't pay their rent. We have to address the fact, right, that we have young people who are forced to fend for themselves, and then you couple this with, but this is what you're supposed to do. Absolutely. The only thing they're supposed to do is survive. And that is what they are looking to do, and sometimes that does not line up with what we would expect in terms of a policy and what we would expect someone who's responsible to remember and how they are taking care of this right that they have, when you have so many people who are fending for themselves and they're in survival, not thrival. And I'll end with this. You cannot expect people to think about tomorrow when they're constantly in emergency mode. Because when you're in an emergency and you need help, you don't care where your car was left, you don't care where your cell phone is, you want someone to take you to the ER to be attended to. And our children and our families are living in emergency mode every single day. They cannot afford to sit back and relax, to think about what is going to happen tomorrow and the decision that they're making today. So when we can move them out of emergency mode to at least being able to breathe and not worry about eating, sleeping, and getting back and forth to work, then we can talk about being responsible in policy and being responsible with the things that they have access to.
I absolutely concur. I absolutely concur. Our families and our children stay in a constant mode of fight or flight. Totally agree. And just to the policymakers, I would say that before we judge how our kids and our families move, we need to study how they cope.
Yes.
Full stop. To your point, policies are made because it's in response to something that has happened. And so what happens in the disconnect is when you're not informing your policy with people who are actually there on the ground level, conversing with our kids, meeting our families where they are, conversing with our educators, because this work, this new work, is not the same work. Like yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's very true.
It's completely different. So everything that you just shared, KaCey, only amplifies the bigger point, which is the rule book, throw it stage left. It's not relevant.
Oh, gosh.
None of it is relevant. And so we have to have a completely different lens moving forward, being conscious of and ensuring that the voices that are vital to impacting policy in a way that resonates for our kids and our families, those voices are at the table. So the traditional heads of states, for lack of a better word, Let's think about that differently. Let's change the trajectory. Let's just look at it from an obtuse angle so that we can have all the voices, all the emotions, all of the experiences represented as we're creating policies moving forward.
Thank you, Tangee. I agree. Danielle, this next question is for you. Can you share the effects of truancy on this particular issue?
We watch the news. The only thing I can add to the phenomenal points that were already made is if our youth, in addition to all of the things that you said, become disconnected from school or don't see the value of their own education or have so many other things going on that are disconnecting them from the value of their education, what exactly do we expect them to do with the 7 or 8 hours that they would have been in this building?
Yeah, that's it's like the school could be the last thing that they have to kind of keep them connected, and if that's gone, and if, like you said, 7 or 8 hours, if you're not in school, what are you doing for 7 or 8 hours when you should be in school? Probably nothing good.
There's only so much gaming. I mean,
yes.
You know, there are other things that you can
Other
do.
things that you can do.
But at some point, your attention is going to be grabbed
Yes, it is.
in other ways.
By something else, completely agree. So I think we have our third and final audio segment. The question this time is, what do you think can be done to reduce the violence we see with your peers? And also, what has to happen for it to stop? Let's take a look at the third video, or third audio.
I said, I just feel like you can't stretch it enough. Like, it's really just the company you keep. That's all it is. Like, it's the company you keep around you. It's the background. It's your life. Like, what you come from, who you hang around, what your family come from. Not sometimes even not what your family come from. Your family could come from, you could come from a great life, but it's just something about that life that you're not loving. So you seek something else, and then when you find what you love, it's not healthy for you.
Everything people getting killed over, like any situations. Some of them be dumb, like some of them be real, stuff like that. Like just the situations people dying over. If somebody could step in and stop that, then some of the violence gonna get stopped.
It can be stopped by most of these rap people, like most of these rap niggas who really be having real emotion and stuff like that, be in different parts of our area and stuff like that. They start bringing more fun to the area, like more stuff to do, just for get people off that, like off that type of mindset to go do something to somebody. Like that's what I feel like.
Not calling out the rap industry. We'll not get into that. That's a whole other conversation. These kids are really, really smart. These are the voices, Tangee, that need to be at the head. You know what I mean? This is real. This next question is for Maria and Tangee, and I think we have a slide as well. What has been the most challenging aspect of your work in dealing with the uptick in violence, and what shifts, if any, have you had to make in your work?
You want to take the first part?
The impact has caused us to rethink everything, and we talked about that a few moments ago. The entire rule book, 27 years of work prior to this school year, well, 26 prior to this school year, this is 27th year. There was a cadence to how you support kids, right? So obviously you're gonna have deviations to the right, deviations to the left, but there was only like 10, 20, maybe 30 degrees to the left or right of center. Now, all of that is different because you're contending with not only just the kids being different, just to be honest and be transparent, I'm different. The parents are different, the educators are different, the community is different, the kids are different. They are a reflection of us. And so to own that is to say, I'm gonna be present in mind enough to say, let me figure out and quantify what I'm looking at, so that I can make adjustments to how we support you moving forward. So the mind shift is one of the things that's been primary for me, and I think in our conversations with our leadership team, I'm raising expectations.
What we're doing to tackle some of the challenges Tangee mentioned earlier, we threw the rule book out. So everything that we were doing before, with our vision and mission is to really support young people with the foundations of academics and preparation for life beyond high school and making sure they're graduating on time. That takes a lot of extra time. That takes a lot of tutoring time, mentoring time. And what we found is that their heads and hearts are just not in it. They're emotionally going through all kinds of challenges at school, during the school day, in the community. And so what we've decided is we're gonna take 4 days of the week and just remix it and do it differently. So instead of 3 days of academics and 1 day of enrichment, it's like 1 day of academic and the other 3, we're doing art therapy. We're doing everyday social emotional check-ins where they get a chance to learn about the range of emotions that exist in life beyond just anger, madness, sadness, right? And so we're giving them a chance to learn how to check in with themselves and ground and figure out where their emotions are for that day, figure out what's happening before they react. Because what's happening is they're angry, they're triggered, the environment, everyone is on, pins and needles. And so when you are that way, when your cup is full, one of our kids came in and said this to me. He said, Miss Maria, my cup is already full. And when this happened, it just took it over the top. So we've been spending a lot of time really helping them learn how to check in on that and learn how to say, I need to step away. I need to take a moment. Help me. We're doing yoga. We're doing meditation. Just about anything we can think of to get them to check in with themselves and their bodies and their emotions so that we can then refocus on getting them to be inspired again about their futures.
Sounds like martial arts would also be a good addition to that. Yeah, my son attends Welch. It's awesome right there on Laurie. So.
I know they're across the street from my house.
Yeah, excellent. I'm like, what is this doing here? Beautiful building, beautiful. Sorry. So we're gonna switch gears just a little bit so we can end on a different note. And so we know that this is a multi-layered problem. We all realize that. But what are some successes that you ladies have actually seen with the youth that you serve? And it's for all of you.
And Danielle, you wanna start with the...
I would say a success for me is one of our youth called this week and said, y'all are helping me see things differently. I'm starting to see things differently. And with all of the things that he has going on right now, for me, that's a success.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because I know what he would be doing in his current situation had he not in fact, just come back from Guatemala with a trip with our mentors, a fully sponsored trip to get away and see something different than what he sees every day. But I will say, I wanted to make sure that we show this about investing in intervention, because that's the shift that the U.S. Attorney's Office has taken since 2018 with our Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative. But prior to the pandemic, these 6 things were shown through research to be effective when investing in intervention. If you focus on high-risk people and places, which all of us do, you implement evidence-based strategies, which all of us do, and so many other organizations. You provide comprehensive state-level coordination. You conduct regular program evaluations. Facilitate community input and engagement. Community has to have a say in what is happening in their own community. And you commit to long-term, not short-term, not 1-year pilot, not 2-year demonstration, but long-term stable funding.
Yes.
It yields results. In the areas that were doing this before the pandemic, gun homicide rates fell by 16 to 35% over 6 years, while areas that were not doing this saw an increase by 14%. That makes a difference. If we talk money,
yes,
a $2 million violence reduction program investment returns a $15 million savings. $2 million to $15 million you save with everything that goes into treating, hospitalizing, losing job, wage, all of that, $15 million you save when you do these things.
When you do these things. And you cannot shy away from the money conversation. I don't shy away from the
It
money
makes a
conversation.
difference.
It makes a difference. And so, yeah, definitely. And to be able to see it like this, you can actually, this is palpable, right? So thank you.
Yeah. I think for us, you talk about success. Like, I think about some of our young men who, and I know we don't have time to do the full breadth, but for those who are familiar with our work, What is specific to this west side is that we moved 25 water boys off of the corner of Ivan Allen and Joseph E. Boone, right?
Yes.
Or Old Simpson Road, for those of us that have been in here for a while. And what we've seen is that a good majority of them never went back to that corner, never went back to selling water, period. And from there, some of them realized that there are other ways, safer ways, to make some money, and so they've purchased a car. They're paying their car insurance. They are working to get into their first apartment. They are building their business on the side and, working a more traditional part-time and full-time job. And what we want is for them to understand that they have the tools necessary to make what we call a different choice. So for us, we never use the word better because what we don't want is for young people who have had no choice to feel like their choice was wrong. And so now you have an option to make a different choice. And in that different choice, here is the results and the good consequence, right, of what that choice looks like. And we make sure that we keep our stakeholders involved every step of the way. And we make sure that the young people that we serve, because they're a little different. While we serve the same population, they're a little different because most of my boys, I'm trying to get them to finish high school, right? The idea of college, we got a long way to go before we get there. And in doing that, I still have to remember that they're still young people. And they still deserve everything we freely give to our children. So when they call and they're like, Miss KaCey, I want to go bowling. So let me full disclaimer, if you're giving to Hay, it goes to them being able to go bowling, to be able to buy some clothes, to be able to take their little girlfriends on a date, because you do that for your kids. Why don't they deserve to do that? And when they realize that they have the same access, they begin to think different. And the community piece is important because I can go to some of my young men and I can say, okay, now here's the litany of folks that supported you in this. And so while you should not live your life for someone else, here are the folks who are observing your decisions. And it helps them begin to shift their mind around the decisions they make because they don't want to disappoint Miss KaCey or Coach Boyd or, Coach Nasir or Miss Katie or whoever it may be. And so they will then fall back. And I think for us, the biggest success is the growth and maturity that we have seen where they say, this is not a good choice for me today. I'm going to go home. Or Miss KaCey, home is not a good place. Can I come over? And so that's why we have the Hay House, which is the old Katherine Johnston home. And we are there sometimes till 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Because they don't want to go.
Because home is not always a safe space. And so we need more places that are going to be open past 6 p.m. So children who want to make a different choice have some place to be when home is not safe.
Absolutely.
So I know we don't have a long left, but I know that Maria and I probably have two different perspectives. Let me start with mine. As it relates to success stories, I'm not going to mislead you and believe that since what we call the artificial end of COVID and now there's a success story. This is an ever-evolving thing, and we are always changing and adjusting accordingly because we always want to be true to our mission, which is meeting the moment and meeting the kids and our families where they are. And we're making adjustments to our programming accordingly, which is why we have sought out the SEL and really putting function into those notions, not as a brand, but it's not a wash cycle, right? So after wash and after rinse, there's SEL rinse, right? No. It's how we breathe. It's in the air conditioner vent. How we move, how we communicate with our kids, how they respond to us, what our expectations in that response, our expectations in terms of augmenting it from being the traditional way, unmitigated with the whole pandemic scenario and the byproduct of that. That whole expectations has shifted for us. Also, it means that we need to be open to community partnerships. You brought it up. So we see partnerships differently. Before, it was like a rope plays, come and fill in this space. No, I'm being asked, we all have been asked to think about this problem from an obtuse angle. So that means we have to look at our partnerships differently as well, which is why we partnered with so many different entities like the Eta Lambda chapter, Alpha Phi Alpha for a different entity. We'll talk about that for something else, as well as the creative project, TCP, for the art therapy that Maria mentioned before.
What I would say is it looks different for every child, but we're meeting kids because we are changing our approach to meet them where they are. We have a lot of boys who are now coming to us saying they're comfortable with saying they want to get therapy. That's like big by itself, right? We have kids that we've just met who are trusting us so much that when something happens, they come to us. You know, when something happens at school, they come to us and like, why are you here? You're supposed to be in school. Well, they're here because something has happened and they need our support and help. So those are, you know, some of the ways that we're seeing that success is occurring. We're still pushing kids towards the post-secondary plan option, right? It doesn't have to be a 4-year. For some of our kids, it's a 4-year. For some, it's a 2-year. For some, it's a certification. What we want is for them to understand that we have to prepare you for the future, and it takes a lot of relationship building and a lot of time, but if you show up that way for young people, they will see it, and to Ms. KaCey's point, they won't want to disappoint you.
Absolutely. So our last question, ending on a note, an action note. So we've taken a look at the issues more intimately, and what can we do as a community, as residents, to support this issue? What is our call to action? And I'd say
commit to long-term, stable funding for organizations that are serving young people every day.
I would add to that, so +1, +2, +3 for that, is to also commit to the process and trust those of us who are on the ground. It is not going to look like what you think youth development should look like. And it's not going to look like what some of us may have been able to place our children in structured programming. We have structured chaos. You're gonna walk in our space and be like, what the hell is going on, right? But it works. But you have to trust us because we're the ones on the ground every day with them. And lean into that and not try to redefine something that makes it more comfortable for the masses, but understand we're giving them what they need in the moment so that we can see that success trend.
Yeah, I think that, I think the mayor and the special assistant to the mayor says this all the time. What's wrong with Atlanta cannot not be fixed by what's right with Atlanta. So with that being said, we have to stretch our lens. So this whole thing about learning loss, if you are cognizant of what's going on real time, before we get to learning loss, it's like, how is your head? How is your mental state? How is your spirit? What do you think about life? When you see kids that don't have life in their eyes, it would kind of adjust your whole spirit. So meeting the moment, trusting, to your point, the people who are on the front line, and understand that at the end of the day, it's about being able to embrace this notion of Atlanta being that beacon of hope that has always been. We believe fundamentally, it's a part of our DNA. We want to grasp it again, but we have to acknowledge what's real for us and for the city.
And if you want to remain engaged in this conversation, because we are discussing things like hosting a teen-style summit just for Westside youth to be able to talk about some of those things. We've had some other ideas on how to deal with some of the truancy issues here on the Westside. Then scan the QR code and you'll be able to submit your information, and we will remain in contact with you once we have our ideas gelled together. But most importantly, be curious. Showing up is important, but get engaged, and get engaged deeply, because when you engage deeply with an organization that's doing the work, you begin to understand the problem and see it differently, which changes your perspective and potentially changes the outcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have our marching orders, everybody. So let's make sure we get to it. This QR code actually does work. I didn't believe the huge was like this really works. So yeah, if you can scan that. And thank you, ladies, so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
All right, no, thank you to our panel. We moved our start time to 7:45 from 7:15, so we're still working on our timing, but we want to end as close to 9 o'clock as we can. So as our last part of our program, Ebony is going to come up and do the gift card, and then Benjamin's going to take us out. I'm sorry we didn't have time for Q&A. I'm sure people had questions. They'll probably, I'm sure, be around. But one thing in kind of my closing remarks, living in the neighborhood, like growing up on the east side, was not exposed to gun violence the way, and it is, and the trauma, because it's happened near me and the trauma, and so it's just overwhelming sometimes to see what's happening. And then, as we talked about earlier, we have a city, back to the mayor's, we have a city with the resources to do something about it. That's the blessing. And I know everyone here today is leaning into that. So thank you. And I just want to end my comment by saying, in honor of Women's Month, it was great to have an all-women panel.
Yes,
we can
it was.
clap for that.
Yes, it was.
And the last thing I was thinking about, I noticed on the discussion this morning, that there was a discussion I heard a lot about service, but I never heard one of them say, I am a servant leader. I go to a lot of talks, and often folks will start by saying, I'm a servant leader. Honestly, I kind of check out after that moment. Because what I've learned about real servant leaders is they don't say it because they're so busy serving.
Doing it.
They don't think about it because they're so busy serving. Servant leadership. And these folks up on this panel today, Tangee and Marie, have been at it for so long, quite frankly, I don't know how they keep going sometimes. That is a servant leader, truly. And one thing we can celebrate are these women modeling so busy servant leading, they didn't have budgets of time to tell us it. So let's give them a big shout, a big thank you. Up to you.
Oh, okay. I thought you had more preaching to do. You was on the roll. It was good. I liked it. Okay, you guys, without further ado, I hope you got your red ticket. I hope you got your blue ticket. Home Depot Foundation invests millions of dollars for the revitalization of the West Side. They're giving a gift card away today as well. Red ticket number 3990884. 3990884. 3990884. No? Oh.
All right.
I had to draw a second one. There you go. Oh, you know what? I'll take that. There you go. Appreciate you. Okay, thank you. Also, Goodwill of North Georgia, we know that they put people to work. Winning blue gift card number for the Goodwill of North Georgia gift card is 130508. 130508. Oh, come on. There you go. Just look back. All right, thank you. Congratulations. Okay, I think we're getting ready to wrap up. Ben, just make sure you get engaged with us. Share your experience. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Westside Future Fund. Check us out. Also, our website, westsidefuturefund.org. Make sure you come back and see us April 21st. And I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day.
Final words from Benjamin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all forgive me.
I know.
So, thank y'all.
Thank you.
I grew up on the West Side. And, from the time I was probably 15 to 27, I lost about 7 friends to gun violence, to street shit. Excuse my language, but that's just what we call it, this street shit. And, some of them were like family. The most recent, in 2020, I know everybody in the city heard about the 4th of July shootings that went on in 2020. A very, very, very close friend of ours was one of the 2 that got killed that night, Erica Robinson. And I just say that to say that this isn't just numbers. This shit is real. This shit is real. Excuse my language, but this is just me, all right? People require certain things to go from A to Z, and it's not rocket science. The difference between where I'm at right now and where some of my peers are is the fact that I had resources. I had a support system. I had a safe home. I had food. Even when we were on food stamps, I could eat every day. I didn't have to worry about what I was going to do. This shit is real. It's real. These are people. And we need our city, Atlanta, the beacon of civil rights, of equality, of justice. We need y'all to stand the hell up. I'm tired of this shit. I am tired of losing young black people in this city when it can be perfectly preventable. This is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. God, it is unnecessary. We need to do something. So don't just come in here and, yeah, you want a network, that's great, that's cool. But y'all, listen to me. Listen to these women. Listen to these pillars of the community. Listen to these leaders. They are telling you what you can do. Your money is not just an investment. Your money is not just something for you to get a return on. Your money is a tool for you to create a better society for every single living individual in this city. John, if I get fired after that, I remember, you know, it's cool. It's cool. Thank you.
Okay. Well, y'all, well, we appreciate y'all obliging us for a little bit longer for a personal message that we can really, really see. We heard their voices on the audio. We heard a voice in real life.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate y'all. Come back and see us
Y'all,
April 21st.
We'll be back April 21st. Thank you.
Yeah.